All right, I'll say. How are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist?
Great.
Are you all there?
Welcome.
Very good. We'll begin this interaction this evening of your time with, shall we say, a slight continuation of a theme we began last interaction of your time, that of the idea of your dream reality and the idea of waking dream and sleeping dream. For, from our perspective, your conception of dream has to do with the idea of the experience you do perceive when you are, as you say, asleep. However, from our perception, your waking life is no less a dream, and therefore we refer to waking dream and sleeping dream. However, understand, from our perspective, these are merely extensions of the same one reality. You have drawn a dichotomy or a difference between the two states. However, in essence, there is none. And while you draw that distinction, you do have the perception that upon waking, you have had a dream. That is a classification of a non-physical experience, which you did have during the evening. But the mere labeling of such an experience as a dream implies within the mere statement the idea of separation between those two ideas. In fact, the only difference between your waking dream and the idea of your sleeping dream is one of definition. You have placed a definition that your waking experience, your waking dream contains, that being the idea of more solidity. However, this is just that, a perception, a definition. And in fact, the transformation from the idea of third density to the idea of fourth density, shall we say, comes along with a blending of these two ideas, so there is no longer a separation. You do perceive that in your dream reality, there is a certain amount of malleability, a certain amount of the ability to shape and change situations without having the idea of benefit of physically going through process, and your waking reality being more solid and less malleable. Again, though, this is just a definition. And indeed, when you realize that by living a life of excitement and taking back the idea of your power and accepting responsibility for the creatorhood of your reality within the waking dream, you will notice that this separation of definition begins to break down. In other words, you will find that same malleability, that same ability to shape and change your waking life as you now perceive you have within your sleeping dream life. And therefore, there will no longer be a separation of these ideas. Understand, you are dreaming now. You are dreaming right now. And there is no difference except that definition of this idea. Many times, the idea of within your sleeping dream reality, you do what we have labeled the idea of blueprinting experiences that you will have within your waking reality. However, in order to stay within that which you have chosen to experience within this focus, that being the idea of discovery, discovering things for the first time, You do, in a sense, place a type of what you would call amnesia upon yourself, so that in your waking life, you may discover these things for the first time. When indeed you are within an experience that you have already blueprinted in your sleeping dream life, and then you do have that experience in your waking dream life, very often what does occur is the idea of an instant recognition that you have indeed blueprinted this scenario. And you label within your society this idea, déjà vu. For this is all that idea is. And in a very real sense, when you do experience this idea of déjà vu, you are being a multidimensional being, existing simultaneously in a multitude of realities at once, but placing upon yourself that you will only experience this one. When you experience the idea of déjà vu, you are experiencing simultaneous realities. The recognition that these realities are occurring at the same time. This is part and parcel of this déjà vu experience. So in fact, when you do find yourself having such a déjà vu experience, realize at that moment you are focused in more than one reality. Hence, you have what you perceive to be a very exhilarating feeling. For it is indeed a very exhilarating feeling to experience more of your multidimensionalness. As you do allow yourself within your waking reality to realize that it is a dream, no less dreamlike than your sleeping dream, one of the resulting factors, shall we say, is you may find that indeed you do remember your dreams less, for there is no longer a separation. Many of you have expressed a desire to wake up within your dream. You have had maybe an isolated experience or several of the experiences of, shall we say, waking up within your dream, realizing you are dreaming within the dream, and realizing that this waking self-reality is indeed the same. You may find within those situations that you do have some control over that environment, and indeed you have expressed a desire to do so. What we shall say to you is this: when you begin to live the dream, realize this is the dream, then you will do this all the time in your waking life. And what you perceive to be limitations will disappear. That lack of malleability within your waking reality is your definition of limitation, your choice to perceive limitation. You are now realizing that it is a choice. And as we have said, once you do own something, you can change it. Not until then, but when you do own it, you can change it. And therefore, the mere recognition that you do create your reality, not in a philosophical sense, not in a way, but totally your entire reality. You then begin to live the dream. And indeed, your willingness to allow yourself to live the dream will bring along with it that malleability you do so desire. In fourth density, you will find there is no need for the idea of sleep. It is still a physiological representation which individuals from time to time will choose to experience for very specific reasons. but it is not a part of, shall we say, the mainstream. For we do exist in and within a dream all the time. Now understand, we have explained to you that there are differences in our physiological representation due to our vibration. And for point of reference to you, we have said that we are very much dreamlike. And in a sense, it is a bit easier for you to perceive us indeed within your dream reality. Many times you have. Everybody in this room at some point has had some contact, some experience with our society in your dream reality. However, you have not had in your waking reality, as we discussed last time, the appropriate symbols to bring back that experience. So, what you may perceive upon waking is you had a dream, for instance, of walking in a park or being amongst many that you do know very well, their past, their history. They are your friends, they are familiar. But indeed upon waking, you do not know them, you do not remember them. Very often, this experience represents communion with other consciousness, either within other portions of your world that you have not physically met up with in this lifetime, or those who have not chosen to incarnate with you at this time. But other times, this experience is directly your representation of contact with us upon our planet. Do not in any way, shape, or form berate yourself if you do indeed perceive that you had a dream last evening of your time that you cannot remember. For we have said, you will know what you need to know when you need to know it. And the mere trust in this idea will allow you to proceed without fixating upon ideas that indeed would sidestep you from that very process. And therefore, again, we say, it is not the goal per se. However, we have communicated with you on this level. You have, shall we say, loosely visited us upon this level. But here is the point. You have expressed a desire. And we have said it is not important that this be so. Although, if it is to be, we also have that desire to meet with us, as you say, face to face. Here is one of the keys to this idea. Blending your dream waking reality with your sleeping dream reality. Realizing they are one reality and living the dream. Remember we said it is easier for us to communicate with you in that state. Well, if you live it, it would be easier for us to communicate with you face to face. There are many aspects to the idea of dreaming, this only being several, others which we have discussed last interaction of your time, and some which will, shall we say, come out within these interactions. However, we did wish to present this idea to you at this time for specific reasons. We do detect a desire on your part for this type of information. But we also desire to allow you to know that you can live the dream. And in effect, you are beginning to do so. One of the key factors to this idea is what we have labeled the most important thing, which is always now. By living in the now. You are experiencing the dream by the idea of what you call casting, futuring. You are not. You are drawing a separation. And living the dream is an integration. Are you all following along so far? Yes, is this translating into your language adequately?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Very adequate. You're getting close.
We are, as always, very joyous to share these interactions with you. We do realize that what, in effect, you are doing is allowing us to be part of your dream.
That's true.
We also desire to have you within our dream. And therefore, what we are creating is, aside from your already existing collective dream, a new overall collective dream, which does include both. And at this point, we shall take the opportunity, if you wish, to entitle this interaction on your behalf, Beautiful Dreamers.
Wonderful.
In our appreciation for your willingness to create this dream with us, which in no way, shape, or form will you ever perceive as a nightmare. We ask you now, how may we be of service to you, sharing